Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back with another movie review, and today's movie was from Lifetime, and we have Dirty Little Secret starring Melissa Joan Hart. Yeah, she's a childhood favorite of mine. And we have Lizzie Boyce. So Melissa, well, we're gonna do her real name. Well, okay. So it stars a mom, and she has a child that lives with her, and then come to find out she has two other children. So basically, the mom, Joanna, she works as a nurse, and then you have her daughter, Lucy. She's in high school, and she's a senior in high school, and every day, so she starts off with her in school, so every day, her friend, Kaylee, she goes with her to the gym bathroom, and, you know, she takes her showers and stuff there. And, you know, Lucy just tells her, well, maybe because I just like going here, because that way I won't oversleep and stuff like that. So that's the lie she tells her. So then she finishes, she's in class. Her and Kaylee was talking up a storm, and the teacher caught on to it. So then the teacher assigned them to a group project, and he split them two up. And then Lucy was like, well, why can't we two work together? And then the teacher was like, because they all haven't seen that musical, so I guess they have like a go-to musical that they do for their project. And he can't see what to go for, so then he gave them a new assignment to do. And that which basically entails that find two people, because they're pairs, so find two people that nobody else knows about, and then you do your presentation. And so then Lucy got picked with this boy named Josh, and Kaylee got picked with some other person. I don't know, whatever. So Lucy's new partner was Josh, so she texts him and was like, hey, this is Lucy, do you want to meet up after school? He was like, who is this? She showed her friend. She was like, look what he said. And it was like, boys can be dumb at times, whatever. So then she texted him, was like, the shy girl. He was like, oh. And then he turned around like, sorry, bro. So the person she picked was Mary Kotler, and he picked John something. So basically, them two people were... John was like in charge of, or head of, the design of building the Yosemite. And then Mary, she was an architect, a woman architect for the Grand Canyon. I was like, okay. So they were researching their project. She met up at his house. And then, yeah, I think he was like, the next time, can we meet up at your house? She was like, my mom doesn't like people at my house at work. Which is a given. Most parents were like that. Mine was like that too. Growing up, she was like that too. Hold on. So yeah, when she does get home, yeah. Oh, it's also her mom's birthday. So after she left school, she went to her mom's job to set up for her little birthday party with her clients and stuff like that. So she's there. I know I said that backwards, right? Yeah, I did. So before, no, that's right. Okay. So she helped set up at her mother's job at the hospital, and some of her coworkers come, and then one of these her patients that she helped figured out that the guy, he kept thinking his pacemaker, because he had a heart condition, his pacemaker was failing. Come to find out, the guy was allergic to some of the components in the pacemaker. So they made him a whole new silver titanium one. So, I mean, a gold-plated titanium one, so that he wouldn't have any allergic reactions. That's from Joanna. She helped figure that out, and, you know, he was there to show his love and support and also wish her happy birthday. So after that, they go home, Joanna and Lucy. Come to find out, their house is like what you see on Hoarders. Exactly what their house looked like. And you know the crazy thing is, that's how the people be on Hoarders. They do not want nobody touching their stuff or trying to get them help. Or even like if they have children involved, the children are like basically, well, let's say, they feel guilty that their parents are like this, and then they feel abandoned and sad because it's like their friends can't come over to their house, and then it's like they're big envious, and they just wish that, you know, their parents will get it together and, you know, make the house presentable so they can have company over. But yeah, so they end up sitting in the living room, which is like a small space for them to sit. They eat some takeout food, and then they go to bed. So not Lizzie, that's her real name. Lucy, her room is good, but it's like her mom started putting junk in her room as well. So she had like this little corner of her bed to sleep in. The mom, I don't even know where she really slept. I think she slept in the living room. I don't think she really slept in her room because it's probably covered with junk. The bathroom, it was to the point where there was stuff in there. The water ended up getting shut off, so you can't even use the toilet. So for Lucy to wash and stuff like that, she had this, I think, a gallon of water. So she'll pour some in a basin tub so she could wash her hands, wash her face, wash her hair, brush her teeth, all that stuff. It was sad. Like the stuff you see on Hoarders is exactly what they was doing in this movie. So while she's doing that, getting ready for bed, Joanna, she's still up watching TV. She gets a phone call. It's a collection agency. That means they want their money, and she probably didn't. Even though you work as a nurse, that means she don't got it like that to, you know, paying all these bills or whatever, because it's just her. Her husband ended up left her because of her being a hoarder. Her two oldest children, which was Sarah and Phil, they end up leaving too because they couldn't take it. And plus, they was going off to college and stuff like that. So basically, it's just Lucy there in the house now that she's a senior in high school. So eventually, she's going to be leaving too. So after that, I guess Lucy just had enough of like living like that. And she basically met up with her sister Sarah and was like, listen, this is like too much. And she was asking like, what could we do or whatever. So after that, Lucy meets up with both her sister and brother at a diner, and they start talking to her like, how did mom get this way? Why was, you know, things never changed? And then Sarah and Phil starts telling Lucy the story, like, listen, you was a little bit too young for this. Her sister, which is Joanna's sister, and their Aunt Jean, she came in to try to help things go smoothly, because around that time, her mother was dealing with, I guess, some type of illness or whatever, and then she also had a bad asthma attack. So she was away in the hospital. So while she was away in the hospital, they're telling the story, when they was younger, Aunt Jean and the kids, they cleaned up the house. When she came home, Joanna flipped on them, was like, why did you touch my stuff? It was like, she ended up breaking this glass she had on the mantle, and she was like, my stuff. And then her sister was like, you rather choose these possessions over your own children? Doing so, she ended up cutting her sister on the face. And Aunt Jean was like, listen, from here on out, you're on your own. She told her to leave, but then when she leaves, she was like, why did you leave? It was crazy, yeah. I don't know why they be doing that dumb stuff, but it is what it is. So Aunt Jean left, and I guess she ain't never hear from her ever since. So, and Lucy was like, I think I'll take it upon myself to, you know, throw some stuff away. So, mind you, all she threw away was 3 bags of bubble wrap. Why do you need all them bags of bubble wrap? When she threw them out, her mother came home from work and she was like, don't touch my stuff. Then she went up for her, and then she brought in 2 of them. And then Lucy was like, we don't need them. She was like, Joanna was like, yes, we do. We could use it to mail things and stuff. Like, she was not going for it. Lucy was like, do I still have to go back out and get the other ones since you already brought them 2? She made a face. Lucy just turned around and went outside to go get that bag. It was just like, wow. 3 bags of bubble wrap is not going to kill you. Minus all the other stuff she had stocked up in her house. But she has like some type of mental disorder besides what, she was diagnosed with at the time. So yeah. So the days go on. Josh and Lucy continue working on their project, and it was all good. Phil, he leaves to go on the way trip, because I think he's away in college or something like that. So yeah, he goes to her school to tell her, listen, I'm coming to see you for a little bit, then I'm gonna leave. So that he left. Lucy was getting in touch with her guidance counselor to help her get into a fashion school. So she printed her out some applications, and she was running it by her and her sister, and it was like, well, I want to go so I can get, because she wanted to get away from the environment that she's in. And it was like, her sister was like, listen, just lay low, play it safe, and you don't want to call no attention, because once the CPS gets involved, it's a whole other story. So basically she was like, okay, I'm just letting it blow over, whatever. So eventually, after meeting up with Josh to finish up their project, he was telling her how his mom used to be an alcoholic and stuff like that. And he was like, oh, it's okay now because she's not ashamed. She tells us all the time. And he was like, okay, that's good. So then that next day when she did go to school, she told her guidance counselor, but she not necessarily said who she was talking about. She just said a friend. And she explained to her the situation. And then after that, she left. She was like, the guidance counselor, she was like, can I have CPS? I don't know if they ever came to the school or whatnot, but then eventually her mom ends up getting a phone call from her, and then she goes to school, and then she talks to her and says what she said. And then when Lucy and her mother get home, she was like, why did the guidance counselor call me talking about you and your behavior? Mind you, she didn't say nothing like that. And then her mother put two and two together. Her mother was like, well, what's just going on? Why did you tell them about me? She didn't say nothing about her at all. Nothing about her. And it was just like, okay, well, whatever. So, project time comes. They do a good job. They get, I think, an A on their project. She also gets invited to this party. At first, she said she wasn't going to go. Then she also said that she was going to just, stand up to her mom, get her applications done so she could apply for this college in New York, Fashion Institute. Yes, that's the school you want to go to if you're into good fashion. Mind you, do some good pictures or whatever. So, that same day, her mother, she decides to, I missed this part. Her mother started dating her patient, the one that she helped fix his heart. They was going on a few dates or whatever. So one day she decided, I guess she wasn't feeling too well. So she stayed home, and then she ended up breaking off the relationship with him. So later on that night, her mother, once Lucy and her got into it, whatever, Lucy went on about her business, whatever. Joanna, she was like feeling the effects of like, dang, I rather let my relationships go down the drain with my family and another relationship. So it's like, dang, I got to figure out what's going on and getting my life together. So she started throwing away some things, cleaning up her house or whatever. As she was doing so, she ended up having an asthma attack, because when she threw out some of the stuff, I guess she didn't know she had dropped her inhaler outside, but we're going to get to that part after that. So she goes back throwing stuff out. She comes back in and she starts wheezing. So she's looking in her pocketbook for her inhaler. She couldn't find it. As she's walking, all these boxes fall on her and she's knocked out. Mind you, some hours that went by, and her daughter, Lucy, she comes home and she sees her mom. What does she do? She starts crying. Then eventually she just gets up. She covers her with a blanket. She gets up. She starts throwing stuff away. She was like, they will never know. They will never know. They will never know. I was just like, wow. You're not even going to call 911? She could have still been alive, but basically her mama died of an asthma attack and got knocked out unconscious through all those boxes. So basically a blow to the head and an asthma attack. She died. So Lucy was just throwing stuff away. And eventually her friend came and picked up to go to the party. But she was there for about like 5 minutes. She left. She ended up walking back home Her sister comes. It was like, I'm just going to check on Mom. I tried to call her. And then Lucy tried to blow her off. Like, she's fine. Da, 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 da. Sarah ends up leaving. And it is what it is. And then Lucy continues cleaning up the house. She started putting her garbage in other people's garbage cans. She even drove different places to throw all the trash so they wouldn't figure it out. And then what she do? All the space heaters that her mother had in the house, she set them all up to light. And she put a blanket over it. And then she set the house on fire. Just because she didn't want nobody to know that her mother was a hoarder. Yeah. My thoughts exactly. Like, she did all of that. And she still had not one called 911. Eventually, I guess, after the fire grew or whatever, she called the ambulance. So basically, it's kind of like her mother, you know, died from her own causes, technically. All that stuff in the house, the hoarding, and her asthma attack. It was sad, but it was like, dang, you did all that just so they wouldn't figure out you was a hoarder. Yeah. So, guys, I hope y'all check out that movie. That movie was crazy, but it was definitely good, though. Check out the movie. It's on Lifetime. I'm not sure if you can watch it on the Lifetime app, but you could probably try. It's called Dirty Little Secret, starring Melissa Joan Hart and Lizzie Boyd. So, with that being said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye!